This is part 2 of finding the mean absolute deviation. Okay, so we did this yesterday, and let's try. I'll do a couple for an example, and then I'm going to give you one that you can try on your own. All right. This time, we're not just finding the mean absolute deviation for one set of data. We're finding it for two different sets, and we're going to compare it. So right here we have comedies, and then we also have dramas. And they each have the same number of data points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to find the mean absolute deviation and then compare them. Okay? So let's deal with comedies first. And remember, the first thing you want to do is you want to find the mean. And the way you do that, that's the average, so you add them all together. 90 plus 95 plus 88 plus 100 plus 98. And then once you add them all together, then you have to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's do that. 90 plus 95 plus 88 plus 100 plus 98 equals 471. 471, and you divide that by 5, you get 94.2. That's the average, the mean. Now, you need to know how far each one in the data set is from the mean, and then divide that by 5. So let's do that. We will take 94.2 minus 90, and that gives me 4.2. Then I add that to 95, take away 94.2, that gets me 0.8. Then I have 88, so 94.2 minus 88 plus 6.2. 100 minus 94.2 equals 5.8. I'm not writing these numbers very well. 98 minus 94.2 equals 3.8. 3.8. Now I'm going to add all those together. So, and then I have to divide it by 5 because I want the mean or the average. 4.2 plus 0.8 plus 6.2 plus 5.8 plus 3.8 equals 20.8 divided by 5. Divide that by 5. It gets me a mean absolute deviation, mad, of 4.16. So that is for comedy. The MAD for comedy is 4.16. Let's see if it's more or less than drama. So we first got to find our mean. You add all the numbers together. 115 plus 120 plus 150 plus 135 plus 144, and divide all those by 5. That will get my average or my mean. Okay, so that's 664 divided by 5. That gets me a mean of 132.8. Now I got to find the difference between each one of these and the mean. So we have 132.8, subtract 115. So the difference of the first one is 17.8. And I'm going to add that to the difference of the second one, which is going to be 12.8. Add that to the difference of the third one, 2.8, which is 17.2. Add that to the difference of the fourth one, 135 minus 132.8 equals 2.2. And then the difference to the last one, 144 minus 132.8 equals 11.2. And I'm going to divide that by 5, and that will get me my MAD. 17.8 plus 12.8 plus 17.2 plus 2.2 plus 11.2 equals 61.2 divided by 5. And when I do that, it gets me a MAD, mean absolute deviation, of 12.24. All right. So the comedy ones are closer together than the drama. The drama has a bigger separation between shorter and longer, whereas the comedies are all pretty close to about the same time, just a little bit different. Okay, so that's one way that you do it, comparing. Let's do one more. All right, this is a problem that says the table shows the height of water slides at 2 different water parks. Find the mean absolute deviation, I call it the MAD, for each set of data. Round to the nearest hundredth. Then write a few sentences comparing their variation. Okay, I'm not going to write the few sentences. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I think we can compare them and how the numbers compare. Okay, height of water slides. Let's start with the splashed lagoon, and we want to find our mean. The way we do that is we add all these numbers up, and we divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we divided by 5 again. So let's do that. 75 plus 95 plus 80 plus 110 plus 88 equals 448, and when you divide that by 5, you get a mean of 89.6 feet. So the average height of a water slide at Splash Lagoon is 89.6 feet. Let's get the mean of the Wild Water Bay. And then we can compare the means, or the averages, before we get to the MAD. So we have 120 plus 108 plus 94 plus 135 plus 126 equals 583, and you divide that by 5, you get 116.6 feet. So we can tell right now that the Wild Water Bay has taller slides. The average of the slide at Wild Water Bay is taller than the average one at Splash Lagoon. So if you're looking for a little height, you want to go to Wild Water Bay. Now, let's go back to Splash Lagoon and find the mean absolute deviation. The way you do that is you find the difference between the mean and each number, and then you add them all together and divide by 5. So 89.6 minus 75 equals 14.6 plus, we'll do the 95. 95 minus 89.6 equals 5.4. Okay, then we have to do this 80. And we do the difference there, and it's oopsie. The difference is just 9.6. Now I got to do the 110. 110 minus 89.6, and that gets me at 20.4, and then 88, and the difference there is going to be 1.6. Okay, now we add all those together and divide by the number of them, which is 5, and that will give us our MAD. MAD equals. So, 14.6 plus 5.4 plus 9.6 plus 20.4 plus 1.6 equals 51.6 divided by 5. Divide that by 5, I get 10.32. Okay. Feet. So the Splash Lagoon is 10.32 feet deviation from the shortest to the tallest. That's so there is some variation there. Let's see if there's more of a variation or deviation with the Wild Water Bay. So we start with this 120. 120 minus 116.6. That gets me 3.4. Now we got to find the difference of 108 and 116.6. And the difference of that is 8.6. Then we got to find the difference of 94 minus 94 equals, that's the difference of 22.6 plus, and then 135 minus 116.6 equals 18.4, and the final one, 126 minus 116.6 equals 9.4. 9.4. Now let's add all those together. 3.4. Oh, and we're going to divide it by 5 then. 3.4 plus 8.6. 8.6 plus 22.6 plus 18.4 plus 9.4. That gets me 62.4. Divide that by 5. Divide that by 5. Gets me an MAD of 12.48 feet. So there's a bigger variation, a bigger deviation in the water slides at the Wild Water Bay Park as compared to the Splash Lagoon. So you might get some that are short and some that are really tall at that place. All right, so that gives you a couple pieces of data to compare. You can compare the averages, but they can also figure out the mean absolute deviation and compare that too. And one way you can talk about that is that the mean absolute deviation of the heights at Splash Lagoon is less than the mean absolute deviation of the height at Wild Water Bay. The heights of Splash Lagoon are closer together. So you get less with Splash. If you want some that are really tall and a little smaller, you go to Wild Water Bay. Okay? All right. So that is 2 problems showing you how to do the mean absolute deviation. I will give you one problem for you to try. It's an independent practice one. It's comparing longest bridges in the United States versus the longest bridges in Europe. And they each have 10 pieces of data. So you'll need to take each of those sets of data and find the MAD. All right.